We're going to be looking at the fact that the Writers Guild of America strike is finally over, and what does that mean potentially for James Bond, and that's happening right now. So a lot of you out there might not have known this was happening, maybe some of you did, maybe some of you weren't even really that bothered about it, but for a very long time, potentially 180 days it could have been, the Writers Guild of America has been on strike with the studios over a certain number of things. Now, I don't want to get into the big who and ha about why they were striking, what was the end result, who won, who lost, what things did everyone make compromises on. If you want to go find that information, I thoroughly recommend. There's plenty of websites out there which you could look at, but for me, I felt this was worthy of a quick video on the channel here discussing how does the Writers Guild of America strike, now finished, affect the development and forward steaming ahead motion of Bond 26, and I do believe it does in a massive big way. So before I get into the details of why I think this is important to discuss here, can I ask, if you haven't already, do give us a like, comment and subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel this year, so if you can help us, that would be absolutely amazing. So discussing the Writers Guild of America strike here, now it is over, essentially it means that all members of the WGA can start going back to work doing rewriting shows maybe you didn't know that were potentially on hold until it was all settled. Things can now start moving slowly, and hopefully the other strike that's going on with the Screen Actors Guild can also be resolved very much soon. But as I mentioned, I felt the Writers Guild of America strike finishing now is a great moment and a great sign of some potentially big Bond news coming, and I think it all revolves around one rumour that seriously keeps going around, and that is the rumour with Christopher Nolan. Recently there has been a lot of news about Christopher Nolan coming in and doing something with Bond, whether it being over creative control, multi-picture deals, when he wants to set the films in. There's been a lot of things going back and forth from people talking about certain things, and also on that note, I've heard something from my source which I thought I would share as well, which is coinciding with something else that's going online, so I'm going to share that with you after I read here. But going on just this tangent alone, Christopher Nolan is part of the WGA, the Writers Guild of America. He's written such great films as Interstellar, Dunkirk, Tenet, and recently he's directed his own film Oppenheimer as well, he wrote. So he does write and direct his own movies. So could there now be a potentially a big reveal on James Bond Day, October the 5th, that the deal is signed and Christopher Nolan is going to write and direct multiple Bond films, and they can announce that and say he can officially start working on that now the Writers Guild of America strike is over. Now, I don't think we'll ever fully feel or really understand the true consequences of the WGA strike in relation to James Bond, but I do feel it has had an impact. I feel a lot of information or a lot of deals or a lot of negotiations could have gone on this time, and things could have been set in stone a lot earlier leading up to Bond 26 here. So will this affect potentially Bond 26's release date of the potential 2025? Possibly not, depends how quickly Christopher Nolan could work if he is the director of Bond 26. But again, this is just another good sign, I feel, of progress being made forward for the Bond 26 development. Now, following on from that, as I mentioned just a few moments ago, I had heard something from my source which has told me a couple of different things in the past about Bond 26 and the fact that the WGA strike is now coming to an end, and it has actually coincided a bit with what some other people have said online recently. So I wasn't sure whether I wanted to share this, because I'll be hands up and honest with you all. There has been some things that this person has shared with me which I didn't personally believe, but you know what, this thing was given to me before this news came out, and so I thought I'd just share it here. But essentially it doubles down again on the fact that Eon and Amazon are both very solidly committed to, we are going to do everything in our power within reason to get Christopher Nolan to be the next director for multiple Bond films. Again, people are saying it's 2, all I've been hearing from this source is multiple. From what I understand, Eon and Amazon are very much in agreement. We want to go with Christopher Nolan, we want to exhaust every possible outcome before we start looking at someone else here. Now, there has been discussing things about, you know, maybe they've also really focused on an actor to be James Bond here. I haven't heard anything like that from my source. But what I have heard, which again I heard before some news recently came out, is that actually Christopher Nolan is very much dead serious on making Bond, if you will, a period piece again. For those who know, I've been a massive hopeful that maybe for the next era of Bond, they could take Bond back in time and do something like in the 50s or 60s, closer to the Ian Fleming novels. And by all accounts, that seems to be on a similar line of what Christopher Nolan is hoping to do. He's not opposed, apparently, according to my source, about doing something in the modern day, but he really would love to, if he could have the creative control to do it, go back to the 1950s and do a real period Ian Fleming James Bond movie. He has often said many times that On Her Majesty's Secret Service is his favourite James Bond film, and he really has taken a lot of inspiration from that, and he wants to go back and do a James Bond film like On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Well, and that's really just my quick video about the WGA strike coming to an end and how it might have affected James Bond, and the little rumour that I heard as well, just chiming in on that. But I want to know, everyone, are you excited about the fact that this strike is over? Do you agree like me? It's a big step forward and a big hurrah that this is happening now, which means Bond 26, we might get some news soon. I want to know. Comment down below. Tell me your thoughts about it. As always, everyone, my name is Henry Stevens and I'm the Bond Geek.